Hey, what's up, guys? This is MugenLord here, and I would say this: 2024 has been an interesting year, and we are already about to close out this year. Just can't believe it. But I would say this: it seems like we may be experiencing a turning point, not only when it comes to society and politics itself, but also within the gaming industry. Because right now, it appears from reports that Square Enix may be cutting ties or have ended ties with Sweet Baby Inc. themselves. And the question is, will other game studios follow suit? Now, just because they have ended ties, it doesn't mean that we're going to see radical changes happen right away. Because a lot of these projects that Sweet Baby Inc. had sink their talents in has already been in effect, already been so far in development, to the point where studios either have to flat out cancel these games and lose a shit ton of money, or they're going to have to push out these games or try to fix as much of the game as possible and then release this game so they can recruit some of the money that they're going to potentially lose because of Sweet Baby Inc.'s influence in just their name alone has pretty much left, I guess you say, a sour taste in gamers' mouth altogether. So before we even dive into this video, because this is going to be pretty interesting, I want to see why Square Enix, from these reports, has decided to end ties with them. But make sure you hit the subscribe button, the notification bell for more gaming content here on the channel. So we're going to dive into it right now. So apparently Final Fantasy, from Bounding into Comics, Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts developer studio Square Enix appears to have ended working relationships with Sweet Baby Inc. Now, in a development that hopefully bodes well for fans of the company vast catalog of franchises, Square Enix is no longer listed as an active client of Sweet Baby Inc. Now, as I said before, guys, I did a video on Sweet Baby Inc. A few months ago, and I gave you the lowdown about, its origin, what's their goal, and I also showed you the client list of all the different companies that's working with Sweet Baby Inc. So apparently, through their archive, was saying here in the project section of Sweet Baby Inc. official website, at least as of recently as August of 2024, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth developer was listed alongside such fellow studios as Electronic Arts, Ubisoft, and Warner Brothers Games as one of the notorious DEI-centric video game consulting companies' many AAA level clients. Now, however, as discovered by users across social media earlier this morning, it seems Square Enix is no longer choosing to engage Sweet Baby Inc. services, as their logo has now been completely removed from Sweet Baby Inc. Publicly displayed client list. And it makes sense, man. Sweet Baby Inc. is so toxic right now. Like, the name itself and what it pushes and what it means, and the symbol behind Sweet Baby Inc. itself spells disaster for any company that decides to lie in bed with them, figuratively. Whatever company decides to lie in bed with them, gamers automatically check them off. And you also can thank Corbutus as well, with his curator group that he put together, that pretty much signifies what games have DEI and also Sweet Baby Inc. attached to it as well. So definitely kudos to him. That also laid the impact for gamers to be able to look at what games not to support and see what games that Sweet Baby Inc. has sank their talents in. And now Square Enix isn't there. And it would be lovely to start seeing a lot of these logos and these symbols begin to disappear off their client list. So people are going to start paying attention. People will start refreshing and going back to this website, checking the client page to see what other companies slowly phase out. And hopefully that these companies that's on this list also pay attention to the list and see what other companies, and this may also influence them too. Because they say, hey, if Square Enix is leaving, but most importantly, if Xbox Studio leave, or Electronic Arts and even Valve and Rocksteady leave, then this definitely will spell disaster, because of these giant companies that had created some of the best IPs, throughout the gaming history. If they start to leave, then for a fact that it's over for Sweet Baby Inc. But let's move forward. So, in the interest of caution, it should be noted that there does not exist a distinct possibility that Square Enix disappearance from Sweet Baby Inc. website is in some way accidental or temporarily. The possible result of a website error or file path misalignment but should their logo remain absent in months to come, it would indicate that the supposedly hard at work on Kingdom Hearts 4 studio has chosen to, if not abandon their adherence to the performative concept of capital letter diversity and inclusion altogether. At the very least, stop giving their money to an entity whose employees regularly deride their core audience, and overall positive development either way. In regards to their history, while it's unknown which of Square Enix's specific titles Sweet Baby Inc. worked on, archives show that they contracted their services at least as early as May 2022. So they're gonna probably try to link together what games could possibly be influenced by them. So during that time, the studio is responsible for enacting such modern audience-based creative decisions as censoring slavery-related dialogue in Final Fantasy 16. And that was so funny about Final Fantasy 16, where so many people wanted people of color to be in Final Fantasy 16 so bad. They gave Yoshi P so much shit for it, and Yoshi P didn't back down from it. And for the fact is that most people didn't even know that the game was about slavery. Can you imagine that if they did incorporate people of color in Final Fantasy 16, and then the game, one of the main premises is like the slavery aspect of it? You know how much shit Square Enix would have got for that? That's why Yoshi P, that's why he has my respect when it comes to that he just stood his ground and said, you know, pretty much, fuck y'all. This game, I created this game, this is my vision, and this is what I'm going to do, you know? So, then you said, and then also covering up such female characters as the female warrior in the upcoming Dragon Quest III remake, and Maya in Dragon Quest Monsters 3, and producing the entirety of Forspoken. Now, I think when it comes to Forspoken, I think Black Girl Gamers also had some influence on that as well. And let's be honest, if one were to put their money on the entire situation, betting on the wildly panned out, terribly written Forspoken as one of the titles to have received a look over from Sweet Baby Inc., make a sure bet. Interestingly, this development comes just a few months after Square Enix president Takashi Kiryu gave a seemingly non-answer to the question regarding the company's relationship with Sweet Baby Inc. And yes, we also talked about that as well when they were asked about their relationship with Sweet Baby Inc. They pretty much like tiptoed around it. They didn't, you know, acknowledge it or confirm that they was, but they talked around it. And many people were saying, you know, that Square Enix couldn't be trusted for that fact, but maybe because they couldn't talk much about it, because there was probably some behind the scenes workings or negotiations or talks or discussions regarding the situation, because now, as we see on the website, Square Enix isn't on the client list. Asked by a shareholder during the company's quarter 2 2024 shareholders meeting in June, I'm personally happy about the shift from quantity to quality. And that's something else that we talked about, where Square Enix, Takashi Kiryu was also talking about how they want to get back to creating quality games over quantity of games, and also try to figure out a way to release these games in a way where they don't cannibalize each other. So you can also check out that video. So it seems like they got their head in the right, you know, in the right mindset, the right mind frame about what they should do moving forward with the company. And then you add on top of that, you know, the possibility that Sweet Baby Inc. may no longer be working with them. I think we could see a change. We could start to see a shift in the right direction if all this happens to turn out to be true. Now, as I continue with the quote from Kiryu himself, I hope good titles will come out in the future. I'm concerned about the Canadian consulting company, Sweet Baby Inc. Square Enix is listed as a client, but is there actually a transaction there? What kind of transaction is it? Will they continue to do so in the future? Kiryu deflected. I would like to refrain from making specific comments about individual clients as we shift from quantity to quality. Providing content that is enjoyable and safe for our customers is also part of what makes a product fun. We will do our best as creators. Maybe he gave us the answer right there. Listen to what he just said. Providing content that is enjoyable and safe for our customers is also part of what makes a product fun. So make a product safe and enjoyable also means to get rid of Sweet Baby Inc. in order to pretty much make it fun again, make gaming great again, what it used to be, about the game, about the enjoyment of the game. So we will do our best as creators. And then moving forward, ultimately, just what this development means for the future of not just Square Enix, but also the staying power of performative DEI initiatives in the larger video game outside remains to be seen. But here's hoping that everything will start shifting in a more positive, less consensus direction. Now, my personal opinion on all this: will DEI go away for good? I don't think it would go away for good. But I think that it will have very, very little influence within certain sectors of, corporate industries, within entertainment and everything like that. I think what's going to happen is, when it comes to DEI, it's going to become very, very niche, very, very niche, and they won't have as much power as it used to have, where you're going to have a corner probably within the gaming industry or within, the corporate, sector as well, to where you're going to have a niche for it. Because at the end of the day, these consulting firms, they're companies, they're firms. So as long as there's a need for it, they're always going to exist. So what I think it is, they pretty much had overreached and sunk their claws into the industry in such a big way to where they pretty much have a lot of influence. So in my personal opinion, I think DEI is going to start having less and less influence, but still exists. So there's going to be little pocket corners to where these consulting firms can still exist, but it's going to have little bearing on the gaming industry as a whole, where it's not going to affect the gaming industry. Yes, you may have some games that, like, Unknown 9 and Dustborn, but I think what's going to happen is you're going to have these games in as a little niche itself, where the gaming community is not going to even be bothered by it, where it's going to have its own audience and it's going to flourish within that little community that it has. And us as gamers, we can just simply ignore it. We don't even have to talk about it. We can just continue on and enjoy the games that we have, because the developers are giving us the games that we want. So those games are allowed to exist, but they're going to have their own little community. And that's what I think is going to happen. I think Sweet Baby Inc. is going to have less influence, less power, but they're still going to be around just as much as black girl gamers. But they won't have, they're going to lose that outreach. They're going to lose that influence that they have. They're not going to have that power like they used to. They're just going to just have their own little sector where they can just bleed money or make the games that those type of people, which is the minor audience, will want to play. Which, like I said, is going to be a small little community, because there's really no such thing as a minor audience. It's a myth. But at least they will be off in their corner, not fucking with us. You get what I'm saying? So I definitely want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think this is a turning point? And do you think other companies will follow suit with this? We've been covering a shit ton of developers, especially my previous video with Isuna and Hideki Kamiya was in Suda 51, and a lot of these developers was talking about, how they don't like censorship and a lot of the things that's going on within the gaming industry itself, because it hinders creativity. So you definitely need to check out those videos as well. But if you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe button for more gaming content here on this channel. This is MugenLord signing off. I'll see you game fiends later. Peace out.